All right, welcome to episode 16 of the Gaming Lounge podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
Hey, just got out of the movie theaters from seeing Long Legs, a very cool horror movie with a absolutely unhinged Nicolas Cage, as if he is ever not unhinged. But yeah, go see it if you like wacky horror films. It's absolutely wild. And yes, also we are recording this on July 13th, 2024, around 7 p.m. And not denoting that for any notable reason of historical or political importance. I'm just going to leave that right there. All right.
Yeah, so I apologize for my audio being bad last week. I didn't realize until after we recorded. I had a faulty wire, so should be better now. Usually not an issue, but it happens sometimes. That's the frustrating thing about recording. You can't tell until after the fact. But we should be good now. So first, we're going to start with the Xbox Game Pass news that happened this week. It was the big conversation for the week. Game Pass is increasing their prices for console and PC, but the bigger problem was for the console gamers. So I'm going to read off Windows Central, WindowsCentral.com, Jez Corden, and first of all, it says Game Pass for console will be shuttered for new users only. Users currently on Xbox Game Pass for console will be allowed to maintain their subscription, as well as day one games and the hundreds of titles. Blah, blah, blah. New users on Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a new Game Pass standard. So standard was going to be $15 a month. All right, so standard means you're not going to get day one games. You're going to get a catalog of games, but not day one games. If you want day one games, you have to subscribe to Ultimate, which is going to be $20 a month. And Ultimate gets you PC Game Pass, it gets you cloud gaming, and it gets you day one games. So the standard does not get cloud gaming, nor does it get day one games. So if you want all those features that you had before, you have to get the $20 one on Ultimate. In terms of PC gaming, they increased the prices from $10 a month to now $12 a month. And you get the day one games, but you don't get cloud gaming. So if you use PC Game Pass but use cloud gaming, you will not get that. You have to pay $20 a month for that. Which we'll talk about. And then you cannot stack up Game Pass subscriptions anymore. It only goes up to 13 months. And that's the big things. And it's going to take effect on September 12th, 2024. So a couple months. The big thing it's a big price increase. I mean, it went from $17 a month now to $20 a month for Ultimate. Dory uses PC Game Pass. Not the only one I've ever used is PC Game Pass. So for the both of us, it wouldn't be that bad. I don't personally use Game Pass anyway, but obviously $12 a month is still a great value.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, this didn't hurt me too much. I think that if I understand things correctly, though maybe not, when I read it originally, it sounded like PC Game Pass still gets day one.
They do.
Or is that not true?
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
They do. Great. So that's for consoles. Yeah. So for me, this is a big nothing burger. Like obviously it's a pay increase. It's a few extra bucks, but I get great value out of Game Pass. We'll talk more about that later when I discuss the game I'm going through right now. But, so I don't mind paying a few extra bucks. I still think, even with the price increase, Game Pass is one of the best services in gaming. I mean, it's pretty much the only one of its kind of. I mean, I guess you could say EA Origins or Good Old Games or Steam, right? But, I mean, I really feel like Game Pass gives you the most amount of bang for your buck kind of situation. So I don't mind paying the few extra dollars, and I still get day one. That's awesome. I don't need the cloud. And I don't need Ultimate to get the extra games because my list is so long. I have so many like big RPGs on it, and cool indie games. So it's like I'm set. Every time I even start to creep up there, a new month has come by, and it's like, look at all these cool new games, Dory, and I'm like, but also yay. So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't affect PC gamers that much. Obviously, the big thing for PC gamers, they lost the ability to cloud game. They would have to get Ultimate for that. But I don't imagine a lot of PC gamers use that. more than likely they use PC gamers are usually on Steam, and Steam has its own cloud service. So I guess that's not a huge deal, but I just don't see PC gamers paying $20 a month for that feature. And I think the reason why there's such a big difference in pricing now between PC and Xbox is that I think they've tapped out on their Xbox subscribers. They've hit their ceiling. The numbers have been stagnant now, and there's really no more room to grow. I mean, obviously, it's a very difficult. It's a very confusing strategy because Xbox Series consoles are not selling great, and they're actually underperforming like the Xbox One. And how are you supposed to grow more Game Pass subscribers if people are not buying your console? And so you would say, well, the audience is on PC, but like most people on PC don't buy games. I mean, don't use subscriptions. They buy their games, and they prefer Steam strongly. Like people would rather buy Liza P or Starfield for $70 than get Game Pass for $1 and rent the game. People just prefer to buy the games. PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC all buy their games. So it's a huge market that you're just not getting because people just don't want to use subscription service because, yeah, we use Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu and Max and all them, but those are movies and shows. It's not the same as a video game. Video games are 30 to 50 hours at times. Like
Yes.
Like sure, like games like Starfield or Halo are always going to be on Game Pass because they're first party, but let's say you wanted to play Persona 4 or 5 or 3, which were all on Game Pass. You only have you can't it doesn't unless you have unlimited time, free time. You're not gonna be able to play all those games on Game Pass, and they're only on there for a limited time, right? So it gets difficult for people, and a lot of people would rather just wait and buy the game on sale. Like we just had the Steam Summer Sale, and those games were like $30, and Persona 5 $30 is a steal.
I bought like 3 games for $30. Like I bought the Mafia remaster. I bought a couple of indie games, and they're both of them pretty decently acclaimed. Just for like $30 total. Like it was a huge deal.
Right, and so you have. I think with a $20 price tag, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it now? Like when it was like cheaper, you can be like you can kind of forget about it, and people just keep paying it even though they don't really use it. It might just like just. But now that it's $20 a month, it's something that really hurts your wallet. You have to pay attention. And you have to really ask yourself, is it worth it? Do I play a lot of games? If you play a lot of games on Game Pass, it's worth it. If you barely use it or you just use it for a game or two, obviously it's not worth it. I just don't see the point. Maybe if you just subscribe for 1 month just to play the certain games and then unsubscribe when you're done. That makes sense, right? But it just doesn't make sense to keep it going consistently if you only play a few games. You know what I mean? So, but the big thing is the big price difference. I mean, if you're paying $20 a month, that's $240 a year. That's a lot of money for Xbox Game Pass, and it really makes it tough on some people, right? Like a lot of people are not going to want to pay $240 a year for a subscription service for something they barely use. So I think it's very frustrating for Xbox gamers. I feel like Xbox gamers are getting more frustrated because they already feel like second class citizens on their own console.
Yep.
Because PC gets like a lot of features, and you don't have to pay for online; it's free.
Right.
But Xbox, you do have to pay, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I thought it was some kind of typo. Like I think I reread it like at least once or twice. I was like, that can't be right. Like it feels like I'm getting a much better deal by using PC instead of using their own consoles. I'm like, I don't know if this is a Windows decree. It feels like a Windows decree, right? Because feels like Windows are getting a lot more out of this, even though Microsoft pays more for more features. But I mean, I don't know. Windows is getting more of this because you pay less, but you get more. So I don't know if this is a Windows thing or Microsoft, or obviously Microsoft, but like a Microsoft thing or an Xbox thing, right? Those are two different companies, even if they're both owned or shared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels just bad I feel bad for any console holders at this point. It just doesn't seem like a good system. in terms of Game Pass. I mean, I've seen a lot more praise for PC Game Pass and a lot more people talking about that than console Game Pass, right? I mean, honestly, for me, because I've always used PC Game Pass for the past few years now, I don't even associate Game Pass with consoles. You know, I'm sure like there's lots of good stuff on there. There's some exclusive games that they get that PC gamers don't get, which has always annoyed me. But yeah, like ultimately,
but only the older games, like all the new games come to PC now. So
right. So, but ultimately, it just feels like PC is more synonymous with Game Pass than their own console, which is crazy. You would think that they would develop it for the console that they make for the gaming market instead of the PC. That sure, you can have gaming laptops like Seb and I do, but those are a niche product, right?
Desktop,
even in 2024, when gaming's more popular than ever, and pretty much everybody plays video games, or at least many people play video games. Gaming's on PC is still a niche product to some extent. But yeah, I don't know. I totally agree with you. It's kind of wild that they're alienating their audience even more when it comes to the Xbox people.
It seems like they're down. They're just not interested in the console. Like it feels like they want to just be a company that releases a service on everything. Like I mean, this happened right when they put it on the Fire Stick, right? The Amazon Fire Stick. So you can play Game Pass on a smart TV, right? On the Samsung, right? They have apps now. You can just go on Game Pass on the app and play it and stream it. I think so. It doesn't. It seems like they want to cut out the console, but I mean, I don't think they're going to shut down console. I'm sure they're going to keep releasing more, but it just doesn't seem like it's a priority anymore. Where like Sony and Nintendo, like their console is like everything to them, right?
Yes,
it keeps Sony afloat. PlayStation is Sony's most important product.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you the last time I've thought of like a Sony TV or a Sony.
Yeah, they make good stuff, but
yeah,
like
but I don't even associate like Sony with anything else. I think Sony, I think PlayStation. I don't, and obviously I'm a gamer, and I've had PlayStation since PS1. I had I had 1, 2. Eventually, I got 3, and then I got 4, and now I've had 5. I've had every single PlayStation. So obviously, I'm biased, but I mean, I only think about Sony in terms of gaming because like they just don't really make TVs and radios and Walkmans. Obviously, like they don't make that technology as much as they used to.
I guess I see that. I mean, I associate them with music because they make the best noise canceling headphones in my opinion, and I still buy their headphones every few years, and they make good speakers and they make good TVs like I think it's the Bravia. I personally buy LG OLED TVs, but I think that they make good TVs too. But and then I think of Sony Pictures. I think of like Miles Morales the movie, like the Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's fair. The Sony Animations division has done really good stuff, obviously with the Spider-Verse.
But I get your point for sure. When we think of Sony, we think of PlayStation first, and that's their main thing. And Nintendo, obviously, their main thing is the Switch. And but Xbox though is Windows, and everybody has Windows. Like most people have computers have Windows, right? And we think of Microsoft in other ways. They have they have tablets, and they have phones, and they have Windows, and so Xbox is just another division. It's not like their main thing. So if Xbox ended tomorrow, Microsoft's not going to go bankrupt. Why? If PlayStation sales diminished, Sony would be in massive trouble and probably would be bought out by somebody. So, another thing is they increased the price for Xbox Game Pass Core, the Xbox Live Gold multiplayer, just from $60 to $75. So if you want to pay for online, it's now $75 a year, which lines up with what Sony did too. Sony increased the price to play online. It just seems to me like now is the best time to get into PC gaming. It's just the consoles are nickel and diming people, both, and Nintendo's not doing that as much, but they have their other anti-consumer things they do, but we don't have to get into that. But it just seems like a good time to get into PC gaming. It seems like it's more accessible now. It's cheaper in the long. I know it's expensive up front, and it is, but once you get past that point. Like my computer was kind of expensive, but I only owe like $400 more till it's paid off. So it's like it's almost paid off. And actually, no, I think I paid it off. I'm paying for my laptop now. So I paid off now. So from now on, my gaming is cheaper because you go on CD Keys, you go on all those websites that have like Steam keys. You can go and then Steam sales. You can get games for like $30. You don't have to. People always feel like they have to buy every game day one, spend $70. Like all you have to do is wait a few months, and these games drop in price. People really need to get out of this FOMO mindset where they have to like keep up with the internet and talk about every new game. So if I was on Xbox, I'd be very frustrated, and like if you don't have Game Pass, I don't. There's no point of Xbox. I think like unless it's like the only console I had, then I would buy my games and stuff. But obviously, like if you think Xbox, you think Game Pass, and I don't see the point of having an Xbox if you don't have Game Pass. It just seems weird to me.
Yeah.
But I think what's going on is they've hit their ceiling, and I don't know where they can grow. Like there's only two audiences that have Game Pass: PC and Xbox. Right? It's not on Nintendo. It's not on PlayStation. That's a huge. Most of the world plays Nintendo or Sony. Like Xbox is mainly popular in the US and in the UK. Most of the US. US is their main market, right? But Sony and Nintendo are global, way more global. Like Sony and Nintendo destroy Microsoft everywhere else. There's spots where Xbox is popular, like Mexico or South America and things like that. But for the most part, it's mainly a Western company, and what is very normal for companies to do is when they hit a ceiling, they realize we just got to nickel and dime and milk our remaining subscribers to make money, right? We're not making money as much as our goal. We're not hitting our goal anymore, so now we have to jack up the prices and make the people that are already currently subscribed pay more, and that's normally what happens. And this lines up because like for like a year now, we've seen them not hit their number. Like Microsoft's never officially given us a number of it, but I think it's like 35 million. But their target goal was like 100 million by like in a couple years from now, and that's not going to happen. They're not going to go from 35 million to 100 million subscribers. So what I'm saying is, if you hit the ceiling on Xbox, like there's no more Xbox gamers to hit on to sell the Game Pass to. The only audience you can grow on is PC, but the thing is with PC is, as I said on Twitter, is that most PC gamers prefer Steam, and that's it. Like PC gamers like refuse to use the Epic Game Store. They hate the Epic Game Store. They like Kingdom Hearts was on the Epic Game Store for 3 years, but when it came to Steam, people were celebrating like it came to this computer for the first time ever. Yeah, and because Epic Game Store is horrendous because the way
Square Enix did too. I know this is a total aside, but Square Enix did too. They acted like Kingdom Hearts had never been on anything before that. Like it was crazy. They did a giveaway. They did a Twitch stream. They did like Twitter hashtags. They did so much shit. I don't remember them ever doing for Epic. And then when it came out on Steam, they were like, "Holy shit, guys, we can play it on Steam." And Epic's like, "What about me? The past 3 years, Steam."
Yeah, and like Hades, people forget that Hades didn't come out in 2020. It was on the Epic Game Store before it went to Steam. And then when it came, then when it came to Steam, then it was like, "Oh my god, what is this game?" And that's really what goes on. Like Alan Wake 2 is only on Epic Game Store on PC. It's not on Steam. And so there's people on PC that refuse to play Alan Wake 2 because it's not on Steam. Steam is the most popular, and it's because people are attached to their profile. It's like when you're a console, right? You have a whole digital library. You like to earn achievements or trophies on one profile. You don't want to like balance a bunch of different games. It's easier just to have one thing.
I've had Steam for like 10 years. Like I would hate to get rid of that. I had begrudgingly created an EA Origin thing for Game Pass, and I have a GOG account, but I barely ever use it. And I have Epic Game Store, but I almost never use it except for like free games.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm mainly a Steam. Like if you compare all the games that I have on Game Pass, GOG, and EA, just to Steam, I mean, it's equal or more for Steam. Like I have around 100 games on Steam. It's not even anywhere close on any of those other platforms, even combined.
It's just the other launchers suck. I mean, Epic has to pay to keep exclusives, and that's what pisses people off. People don't support Epic out
Yeah.
of principle. That like they're paying money to keep games from Steam users, but those are always timed exclusives, and so people would just rather wait, right? And Ubisoft it frustrates people. Ubisoft's launcher sucks. Like Outlaws is not coming to PC. It's not coming to Steam, and so a lot of PC gamers are not going to buy it day one. They're going to wait until it comes to Steam. The new Prince of Persia game is coming to Steam on August, but it came out in like I think January or February of this year. So people would wait. My point is the launchers, other launchers suck. The Epic Game Store has lacks the features. EA and Ubisoft force us to use their launchers, and they suck. And so I understand why people get frustrated when we're forced to use other launchers we don't use. There should be a choice, right? Valve has a monopoly on the PC gaming market, but people don't mind that because it's just a storefront, right? It's not like they're not forcing us to buy products or anything. And you don't see Epic or anyone else releasing handheld, and you know what I mean. So it's a very accessible. And
I wanna also I wanted to also like
go ahead.
double back to like the whole like it's a good time to be a PC gamer. Like I've never played my PC so consistently. Like my PS5 most of the time is collecting dust. I love my PS5, and if there are really like higher res games coming out this year that I think would run better on my PS5 that I'd prefer to have a controller with, then I'll do that. Or obviously, if something like PS exclusive, Spider-Man, God of War, whatever, right? Or Astrobot, right? Obviously, I'll play it on my PS5. But otherwise, I mean, it collects dust. I don't really need it. I have my Roku for my entertainment, and I have my gaming PC for Game Pass, for Steam, all those other little launchers that I mentioned that are just dwarfed by Steam in terms of usage. Game Pass is the only thing that comes close, and even then, my library for Steam is much bigger than for Game Pass. So yeah, it is a really great time to be a PC gamer, no doubt. I got my Nitro 5 back when the stimulus packages came out for COVID back in 2020, 2021. And paid it off immediately, never regretted it. It's a really great computer. Are there better in the market? Could I have gone a little more pricey and gotten a slightly better core or RAM or whatever? Yes, absolutely. But I'm happy with what I got. I eventually updated my RAM, and I pretty much run modern games just fine for the most part. Every now and then there's a game I need to put on low settings or mid settings or something. But yeah, I'm really happy with my laptop. I think it's my main way of playing games, and I just plug in my Xbox controller, and for audio listeners, I'm just dangling around the Xbox board. I just plug in the controller and I play. And I don't even need my PS5 controller anymore, which I used to.
You can use all your controllers too. You can use you can use a Nintendo controller to play on PC.
For sure.
You can use your PS5 controller. You can use your Xbox controller, and you can use all the features of them. But my point is overall is if PC gamers prefer Steam so strongly, how does Microsoft convince those people to subscribe to Game Pass? Like how do you make Game Pass appealing to people that are committed to their one game? You know what I mean? So Game Pass is amazing for indies. It's amazing to try out games. It's amazing to try out different games. But how do you keep people consistently going? Now, I would argue, okay, so maybe you appeal to the PC gamers in like Asia and like South America who are very PC oriented, like StarCraft and League of Legends kind of people, like that crowd. I would also like having consistent amazing games every month will keep people going. I think Game Pass has done a great job having good games on there, right? But like how I'll put it this way: Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass, right? Day one. That's big. That's huge, right? But if people have been buying Call of Duty on PlayStation and PC, Steam for years now, so how do you convince them to say, "Hey, I don't use my PS5. I want to go get Game Pass"? How do you convince people from PS5 to Game Pass, or how do you convince people that are committed to Steam to use Game Pass, and that's where Microsoft's having an issue, I think, because that audience does not want to subscribe to games, and most gamers do not want to or are not interested in subscribing to a service. They just aren't. The only ones that a lot of people that subscribe to a service are the ones that because they have to pay for online, and so Microsoft has to figure it out. And so right now, because they're not hitting their target goals, they're milking their current subscribers and upcharging them. And this is not the end. This is only the beginning. The prices are gonna go up again. Don't be surprised in a couple of years it's gonna be $30 a month. Like it's probably gonna be $25. They're probably gonna jump it up to like $23, $25 in 2 years or next year or whatever. It is not. It's gonna keep going up. They have to, because you have to think about it. Is Game Pass sustainable? Dory, do you think Game Pass is sustainable, like overall? I know this is a loaded question, but is it?
It is a loaded question. God, I don't know. You know, Bill Gates is one of the richest guys in the world. I think if I ultimately think back to the core of what Microsoft is as a company, right? Bill Gates runs it. I think if he cared enough, and I don't doubt he does, whoever, I know he doesn't actually run Microsoft, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just when I think about Microsoft and the kind of money they have within their connections, right? Bill Gates and all that is it's limitless. So realistically, no, I don't, yes, I do think it's sustainable, but I think it's sustainable in the same way any streaming service is sustainable, right? They're just going to keep adding new features, adding new things that people don't like ads or different tiers, which they've done with Game Pass for a while, for sure, or make things more expensive, right, like they're doing now. So, yeah, I mean, it is sustainable, but it's sustainable in a really shitty way. I think that's probably the bottom line for Game Pass. And for most streaming services, honestly, lots of people don't use Netflix anymore. The only reason I use it is because I split it with my partner. Otherwise, I wouldn't pay for it. So, yeah, and a lot of other streaming services don't crack down on password sharing. So I just use password sharing for a lot of them, unless I really like them, right? Or I really need them, like Sling, because I need cable. I don't have cable otherwise. And I can't watch wrestling without that.
Yeah, it's sustainable for Microsoft because Microsoft has unlimited money. They have more money than God. So they could sustain it. My question is the people. I feel like what's going on in the last half a year or year now. I feel like the people on top, Microsoft, and people above Phil, are starting to be okay, where is the money? Where's the profit? I know they have revenue that's doing well and they're positive in that regard and everything, but I feel like they want a little more. I feel like Game Pass is. I feel like they're trying to shift it a little bit. Game Pass is a focus for sure, but I don't think it's their main thing anymore because they have so many outlets to make money, right? They have all these games under their belt now. They have all these online games services that they can sell people. They have Call of Duty, right? They have all the Blizzard's games. They have Warcraft. They have Overwatch. They have all these different. They have Diablo. They have all these different avenues. Elder Scrolls Online, right? Fallout 76. They have all these avenues to make money now. So Game Pass is not the end all be all for them anymore. I think. I feel like they're gonna keep it going. I'm just saying it's not if Game Pass ended, I feel like they could. I feel like they're gearing up to shift out of it. If they absolutely had to get out of that, I feel like there is avenues where they make money. It's not Game Pass is not their main thing, and I think that's why they're releasing their games on other platforms now, right? I feel like the people on top, the market, the shareholders are giving them certain demands, making the Xbox brand shift into okay, put Hi-Fi Rush on PS5, put Sea of Thieves on PS5.
Closed Tango works.
Yeah, I still don't get that.
Yeah,
but that's another conversation.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Yeah, I do think some, and I'm not trying to take away culpability from the people up top at Xbox, right? Because they have culpability as well.
Yeah.
But I think that I agree with you that I think some of it is just coming up on a high. The Microsoft is seeing that Xbox is just not. It's not doing well.
It
hasn't been doing. They're not making their target goal. They haven't made their target goal for a long time. I'm just putting in quotes because it's silly market speak, not because I'm
Right. No, it's
making
just
fun of
that
stuff.
they expect
But yeah,
they expect the subscribers to be higher. I feel like they went for it, right, and I respect that. But I feel like they expected the subscriber count to be higher than it is, and I guess gamers are just not there yet, if ever. I one thing what I noticed about gamers in general is gamers are very traditional. Gamers like just prefer a controller in their hand and play a game, right? Like VR is not clicking like people were hoping, right? VR is still very very niche. Gamers are very simple. The gamers just want like give me my headphones, plug it in a controller, and let me play a game, right? It's that simple, and I think people are used to buying their games and buying Black Friday, and I think they're used to that mindset. And it's kind of hard to like subscribe to a service, but it not to, so we won't go in circles because we're gonna start wrapping it
yeah,
up now.
yeah. We've been on this for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I think we hit on a lot of great
No,
discussions
I
here.
agree. I agree. This is a huge topic, and it was big news when it dropped.
Yeah, so overall, I do expect the Game Pass to keep going up, and I don't understand. I don't understand where they're going with the Xbox, like the console itself. I don't understand why they're doing that. I don't understand why their cloud gaming is so limited now. Like you limited your cloud gaming to $20 a month, so like you took away from the PC gamers that might have used it now. So like I don't understand that mindset. So we're seeing some shifts in marketing from I feel like Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft is going over above Phil and all them and demanding certain things now. And so we'll see what happens. But
I want to, since you gave me a big loaded question earlier, I want to give you a big loaded question. How much would you be willing to pay for PC Game Pass? Like, what would be upper limit for you? Like 20, 30,
like
25?
my max, you mean?
Like your max, yeah.
If I was really into it and I was using it all the time, I think $25 would be even 30. I could probably get a lot of money out of it. If like because I'm a hardcore gamer and I play a lot of games. If I was like an average person, absolutely it'd be like $15 a month.
Right.
Like, even 20 now is like where I start questioning like, oh, do I use this enough? But for me though, like even if it was like $50, that's probably. I feel like I buy a game day one every month. So technically, if they had something like an amazing game every month that I would pay $60 for anyway, then $50 a month would even something I would pay if I was really into it. But generally, $25 is probably where I would say.
Yeah. I'm pretty similar. I think that makes a lot of sense. At 12, I'm absolutely not questioning if it's worth it. But if we get up to like 20, 25,
start questioning.
That's when I'm like, like I love this service a lot. Do I love it $20+ worth enough? Like that's when I'm looking at other services I'm using, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like this is a lot of money to be dropping on one thing. Like that's not even that far away from like certain bills you might pay every month, right? When you get up to like $30, $50, that's like that could be an electric bill or at least half of an electric bill.
And not only that though, but if you're already paying for Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Max, cable, and that you may have all your bills.
It becomes too much.
It becomes too much because you can't always.
It's a house of cards.
Yeah, it's not just $20. It's $20 on top of everything else you pay for. So you have to factor that.
That's what people don't get when people are like, "Oh, this service is such a great deal. Like you're getting so much for." I'm like, bro, there are so many services I am getting my money's worth. Like I don't need another one. Like I'm so tired of subscriptions. Oh man! All right. Anyway, we should probably move on. We should probably move on.
Yeah. So. That's that. Let's talk about some other news now. These are gonna be a little quicker. So there's new Bioshock being worked on. I'm gonna read off videogamechronicles.com. The Bioshock team at 2K Studio Cloud Chamber is ramping up as it continues to work on the next entry in the critically acclaimed series. They're recruiting like mad for game developers in two amazing locations: San Francisco Bay Area, Nevada, California, and Montreal, Quebec. According to its website, they opened 29 open roles across a range of disciplines, including animation, art, design, scripting, and they announced 2K announced in December 2019 that they're beginning to work on the new entry in Bioshock. That's 5 years now, so you would have to think that like it's kind of is it weird that like they're recruiting now? Or they've been recruiting for 5 years. Like you would think, like the game's pretty far into development at this point, right? It's been 5 years.
Yeah, that is a bit strange.
Yeah, it was, but so I'm guessing that they're just adding more people to it. I would think. I feel like it's probably far in. And then it says Bioshock 4 is going to take place in a quote new and fantastical world, according to an old job listing, and is claimed to be set during the 1960s in fictional Antarctic city called Borealis. Cloud Chamber's team includes a number of Bioshock veterans, including design director Jonathan Pelling and creative director Hoagie de la Plante. And Pelling was the designer on the original game, as well as the creative director at the 2K Australia team that assisted in the creation of Infinite's floating world of Columbia, while De La Plante was involved in the original Bioshock across multiple disciplines, including level design and programming. Now, as we know, Kevin Levine is working on Judas, which is like a spiritual successor to Bioshock. So how are you feeling about this?
I want to say it's I will say that I want to back up. It's so funny to me that it's a spiritual successor to Bioshock when Bioshock was a spiritual successor to System Shock, right? This guy loves spiritual successors. I think it's partially because he keeps quitting studios or causing studios to fall apart, which unfortunately is what happened with Bioshock and why it wasn't made for a long time. But I mean, look, Bioshock Infinite gets a lot of hate, right? Some of it deservedly, right? Although I will stand by the fact that Elizabeth is one of the best companions. She's very helpful. She's fun to be around. I really dig that art style, even if maybe it's a little dated now. But anyway, I think Infinite's overhated. It's not as good as the other two games, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's a great game. I'm excited. I mean, I would like a new Bioshock game. I think there's still plenty you can do with that kind of series. You can go from failed utopia to failed utopia. There's so many good dystopian utopia books, right? You can do stuff based on Walden Part 2, and you can do stuff based on Fahrenheit 451, do stuff based on Brave New World. Like, you can do different ideologies, right? I mean, they've touched on objectivism, they've touched on state socialism, they've touched on, I forget what Infinite was. I think it was totalitarianism or authoritarianism, maybe a bit of futurism as well. There's so many things that you can touch on in this series. I think they've got some great minds behind it. I think they can learn from their mistakes from Infinite and really push the envelope with new graphics and better gameplay. So I want to be optimistic about this. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing or goaty or whatever, but just excited that it is happening and that we have more Bioshock to look forward to. I remember playing Bioshock 1 when it came out, so nobody knew about the twist. Nobody knew about everything that happens in that game. And it's just, I remember being, a teenager or something, maybe preteen, and just having my mind absolutely blown by that twist. Just unforgettable moments in gaming for sure. It's a great series, and it's a great vehicle to prove that gaming can do. And I think this is why I'm such a big defender of Bioshock as a franchise. It's such a good vehicle to showcase video games as more than just, click, shoot, character on screen, right? And that's fine. Obviously, I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that kind of game. I play those games. I love those games. But it's great to have that variety. It's great to have those games that are a bit more philosophical. I have my master's in philosophy, so obviously I appreciate that. So yeah, this is exciting to me. I don't know how it'll turn out. Maybe it'll be shit without Ken Levine. I don't know. But I have high hopes for it.
All right, Dory, I agree with you about Bioshock 3. I think Infinite, I think it's overhated. I don't think it's as good as 1 and 2, but it's definitely overhated for sure. And I'm excited for a new Bioshock game. I feel like the mechanics are always fun, the gameplay is always fun, and I like the world design. It's very creative and stuff. So, I'm personally more excited for Judas because Ken Levine is just I just love his work more, but I'm definitely interested in this series. I feel like it's time for it to come back. It's been a long time. It's been 11 years since the Infinite, I think. The 2013 Infinite. So I played on the PS3, I think. So it's a great series, and it should be more consistent. And System Shock just came out, the remake, so I've been itching to get in that kind of world again. So I love everything about Bioshock: the political themes, the gameplay, the story. The creativity of it is amazing. So I'm excited. All right. So is that everything else you want to talk about, or you want to move on?
No, I mean, to go back to the beginning though, real quick before we move on to something else. It is weird that like only now, like we're kind of hearing about it, and that they would only start doing ads now, or maybe they were doing ads in house before, or I don't know, maybe some people left. I'm not quite clear on all the contents of the report. I did read it over, but it's been a little bit. But yeah, a little bit of a weird situation there. But hopefully, it just means they're going to get more people for the game, make it even better. I don't think there was any kind of like, we'll see it this year or we'll see it next year. But it sounds like if they've been working on it for, 5 years?
Yeah, they announced it in 2019, so it could have been longer.
Right. So hopefully we hear something more later in the year. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was hoping to see it maybe at Summer Game Fest, but I was hoping to see a new Mafia game, honestly, but we didn't get that from 2K. So maybe next year we'll start seeing like actual trailer for it. So yeah, I'm excited. All right, let's move on to. All right, so I recently bought the Viture XR Glasses Pro, and this is what they look like right here. I know in audio you can't see it, but they're like regular sunglasses, right? But they do have a built-in. If you in person, they look like they look, there's extra things to them. They look like more like techy than actual sunglasses. Only on the surface it looks like sunglasses. And you can switch, like right here is a button that switches it from dark to light mode. So when you turn the dark mode on, it's completely black in front of you. But if you want to see what's in front of you, you hit the button and it switches to like a light mode, so you can see like everything in front of you, like regular glasses. So what these are is they're like VR glasses. There's a giant screen in front of you, and built into the lens. So when I put these on, like right here, it gives me like a giant television in front of me at all times. So everywhere I look, there's a giant television built in my glasses. So it's really amazing for like handheld gaming. So if I want to play my Steam Deck or my Switch, instead of looking down at the screen and hurting my neck, I can literally laying down in bed and stare up at the ceiling or wherever I'm looking and play a giant television in front of me at all times. So it uses USB-C. So it has a wire you plug into, a magnet, it goes right into it. It's very simple. It clicks right in. And then you plug it into any device that uses USB-C. So I can use this with my Switch, my Steam Deck, my iPhone 15, and my Mac, because they all have USB-C. And I can literally have a giant screen using. So if I want to do like work production on my Mac, I can use a giant screen to do that. And these glasses are listed as being better for your eyes than your phone or your computer screen. Like it got rated A+. Let me pull up the specs. So it's an OLED panel. It says it claims to block 99.5% of light when you use it. The display is 135 inches, 120 hertz, full HD, ultra clarity screen. So it's 4,000 nits. So it's very bright. So it's legitimately, because this is the second one. The first one wasn't as praised as much because it had some flaws to it. Like to where to get the black, the darkness, you had to like buy a like plastic cover and put it over it that they gave you, and it looked goofy. This one is like built in. You can switch between it, and it wasn't as bright. Because if it's not as bright, it's not gonna look as great. But this one looks like legitimately like 4K when you're playing it. This is very niche. Like this is a very niche product for a very tech enthusiast person like myself. Like this is not accessible in terms of like how much it is for most people. Like obviously this is $450, and I bought the pack too, because I bought like the battery pack where you put it on the back of your Steam Deck and you click it in and you can plug it in on the battery pack. So it gives my Steam Deck like 4 hours more of extra battery and things like that. So that the whole package ended up being like $670, which is a lot, of course, but it really is a game changer if you play handhelds, because like it really, it's not going to look you down at when you're playing a handheld all the time, your neck and stuff. It's really really nice to just lay in bed and have a giant screen in front of you. It's amazing if you have a partner or something and you like fight over the TV screen or whatever. Like if you just want to use like you want to play a game or something. And the cool thing too is these glasses have built-in speakers on the sides, so you don't have to have a headphones in. You can hear what's going on inside the glasses, and it's not loud enough where everybody can hear you. So you could like be on a plane or like when you're traveling and use those speakers, and other people won't hear it. It's amazing for like I said, sharing something with your partner, or like being in bed, or if you're traveling. Like if you're traveling on a plane or like a bus or a train or whatever, you can have a giant screen on the bus or like so imagine if you commute and you take a subway train or something a lot, it's there, and it's not goofy. It doesn't look goofy enough where like people really notice you. Like if you're wearing the Apple product, right, those $3,000 goggles, everybody's gonna see you, look at you like you're crazy. So yeah, and I know my camera's a little blurry right now. I'm out of frame, but
Yeah.
but it's fine. Audio, it fixed itself. All right, so the audio has no idea what I'm talking about. All right, so that's that.
You can put that in the description though.
Oh yeah, no,
Link in the description.
I don't think people are gonna care that much.
Okay.
Anyway. It's only like 5 seconds. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, Dory, what do you think of these glasses? I'm sure you're not gonna buy them, but
I'm not gonna buy them for starters.
But
right.
The concept of it sound cool to you though?
It does sound cool. I remember I was in Long Island recently for a wrestling pay-per-view, and I saw similar, not completely similar, but somewhat similar glasses. They have like Meta AI or something built into it, so you could do like VR built into regular sunglasses. Thought that was pretty wild. But then you're like, "Hey, Dory, I just bought these like really expensive sunglasses. Here are all the things they could do." And I was like, okay, sunglasses are really leveling themselves up, and I just have not been paying attention. But yeah, I mean that's wild. Not for me, but I mean, glad it makes you happy. I get it. Like I get why it's cool, and I get why you would want it. It's just the asking price is way too much. But I think it's a cool concept. I'm not gonna knock the general idea is pretty sound and pretty cool. I can see why it's praised, because that just sounds pretty awesome to me.
Yeah,
but again, not something I'd buy.
This is something I discovered like last week randomly.
Yeah,
and a lot of people, I put it on Twitter, and a lot of people didn't know about it. And I guess I'm doing free advertisement, I guess, unintentionally. I'm not paid.
Give us money.
And people were like, I'm like, wow, but I'm like, yeah, but you have to keep in mind the price is not. It's more expensive than like, well, I guess. It's about the same price as a VR headset, like the big ones, but like, or actually no, it's not. It's like half the price. But either way, it's very accessible. It's like you plug it in. All you do is just plug it in. Like it's really like you don't have to do a bunch of settings. It's just a screen. You plug it in, boom, it's on. That's that simple. And whatever you're using, it shows a giant screen. It's super easy to use, and I really recommend it when it gets cheaper. If it ever does, I recommend it. We'll see. But my opinion, it's gonna probably be like VR, where it's very niche and it's gonna appeal to certain people like me. But if you do have a handheld, oh my god, what a game changer! So I absolutely recommend if you want to pay that price. So it's up to you. All right, so that's that. So let's talk about what we're playing. So I'm gonna start what I'm playing because this is gonna be shorter than Dory's because mine's like a lot of repeats. So let me go to Steam. All right, so I was playing Jedi Fallen Order again, like a little bit. I wanted to go through the series. I was kind of in the mood for Star Wars, so I went through that. I got like a couple hours in. It's gonna be a lot easier this time because I know what to do, where to go. Because one of the biggest problems with that game was getting lost. The backtracking in that game was horrendous. Another game I've been playing is Neo, the complete edition, which on my laptop it doesn't look that great. It looks very blurry. I haven't really been enjoying my laptop. I'm gonna try playing on my desktop because it looks so blurry. I'm talking about Neo, and I just got in the mood to try another Souls games. I've been playing a lot of Souls stuff, and but it's a good game overall. I like the stances. I never beat it though. I played it on the PS4 before, but I've never got to finish it, so I wanted to go back and play it on PC and finish it this time. That's the one Soul series I've not beat yet. And then I'm right at the end of Ni no Kuni, which I really liked overall. I like the story. It's very heartwarming. A lot of wholesome moments. I love the studio, Ghibli like animation. I love the art style. It's a PS3 game originally, so it looks dated. Even the remastered kind of looks dated at times, but overall, the art style does hold up really well, and I think the gameplay is not the best gameplay ever. Like I said last time, it reminds me of Final Fantasy 12's gameplay where you can move the character, but it's still kind of turn based in a way, but not really. It's not because it doesn't have turns, but it's more like you hit a button, like you hit the attack button, they kind of attack automatically, and you can move the character. It's like Pokemon basically. You collect Pokemon, you collect the or Persona, where you collect like monsters and you level them up and they evolve and stuff like that. But the story is good and the music's good. It's really I really like it. It's not too long, so it's been a nice JRPG. I've been playing Mass Effect on my Steam
Nice.
Deck using the glasses as I talked about. I've been playing Mass Effect on this giant screen in my glasses, and the glasses make the Mass Effect like the glasses have built-in 3D as well, so it supports 3D. So it kind of makes the screen, the Mass Effect, pop like it's 3D, even though it's not. It feels like it is, and so it looks incredible. So I've been having fun on Mass Effect. Runs really well on the Steam Deck because obviously the remaster was a PS4 game when it came out,
Yep.
and what else? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, and I beat Mickey's Castle of Illusion, which I still like. It's a good platformer. All right, Dory, what have you been playing?
So my week has not nearly been as busy as Seb, but I'll probably talk longer than he just did.
Yeah.
So I'm on a very long old school RPG kick right now. I've just beaten Fallout New Vegas, loved it, thought it was excellent. And now I've moved into the Dragon Age series since Veilguard is coming out later this year, next year,
Yeah.
something like that. So I figured, hey, I'll figure out what the fuck's going on in Dragon Age. They have the whole series on Game Pass, and it's pretty easy to go in order. Just Dragon Age 1, 2, and then Inquisition, I believe. So I started up Origins. I did some modding for it. It took me a little bit to get that going, but the modding helps the game kind of not look quite as garish as it did. The Dragon Age Origins came out in 2009. So it's going for a very kind of a realistic fantasy feel. So that's kind of not helping it kind of not look dated a little bit. So Dragon Age is basically, it's one of the more popular series from BioWare, obviously, besides Mass Effect. Very, story-driven, choice-driven. I've only played the first, I want to say 4 or 5 hours. I had to close my laptop at one point because I work at a summer camp. I was exhausted one night, and I hadn't even gotten through the character select, and I was like, Kim, just close my laptop, but whatever, I'll do it later. And the game acted as if I was playing the game the whole time. So I've got 29 hours in the game already somehow. But I've actually only played 4 or 5 hours or maybe less. I just got through, for folks who know the game at all, I just did the joining ritual and am trying to regain the tower so I can the big battle between the king and the dark ones, I forget what the fuck they're called, are about to happen. I picked an elf. I wanted to be a rogue. My choices were pretty much I was either a human noble or some kind of city-dwelling elf. So I went with the city-dwelling elf, and holy content warning, Batman. This game is really fucking thematically dark because it starts off with a lot of racism and a lot of really, really uncomfortable antagonists that I don't know. You could have found them in The Boys, honestly. There's really, really gnarly stuff. I mean, it doesn't show anything, but there's a lot of implications, and I sound like whatever the fuck his name is from It's Always Sunny. But Glenn, I think. Yeah, it's really dark early on, and I had heard that Dragon Age is dark, but oh boy, this was a crash course into the universe by picking the city elf. Because in this universe, elves are hated, they're discriminated against, they're basically seen as like, lesser beings, animals, whatever. And so it does not translate to good things for them, we'll say. I got myself in a pretty gnarly situation where I was out of potions, and I was trying to fight the scumbag who was basically the main antagonist, and I wanted to take his money and kill him, but I couldn't, which was a bummer. But you get plenty of money by doing the first dungeon. So I got myself into the situation. I was trying to reload and go back to an earlier save, and like maybe I can save the potions, blah blah blah. I didn't quite understand the combat yet, and I wouldn't for hours more. But eventually, what's great about Dragon Age is that you can switch the difficulty at any time. So I was on normal. I switched to easy. I did it. I got it in one go after really struggling on normal, even though I only had like one potion on me. So that was good. It took me a couple hours, like I just said, but eventually I understood. Oh, this game's a lot like Baldur's Gate 3, right? It's a turn-based RPG, but there's a lot of action going on at the same time. Although Baldur's Gate actually has a turn-based system right in place, whereas this doesn't really. Right, you're moving around in real time, but you can pause it at any time to reposition yourself, do a tactic or a talent or a skill or whatever, and then it'll work like that. So once I figured that out, I just started winning left and right. I'm only on normal, but it started working left and right for me in terms of like combat. But before that, I was so confused. I was like, there's so much going on. How are you supposed to juggle this? I feel like the game, it mentions that you can pause it with the spacebar, but it doesn't like impress upon you like how important that is. I wish it had given me a tutorial where it's like, all right, pause now. Here's a good time to pause. It took like a YouTube video of somebody saying, well, if you're dying a lot, you're probably not pausing enough, which was true. Because as soon as I started pausing and playing it more like Baldur's Gate 3, that's just my only frame of comparison, really, because it's somewhat similar. It went a lot better for me. I won fight after fight after fight, and I didn't die. Because at first I was like, I love this combat, but I feel like I'm so bad at it, and I don't understand why. And I feel like there's so much to juggle, but I don't understand how the game thinks I'm going to be able to juggle that. And the answer was the almighty space bar and pausing the game. So ever since I did that, I've really liked the game. My character, really fond of her. She's a really cool rogue character. She's generally nice, but she's not going to take shit. So I haven't called anybody a dirty human yet, but I want everyone to know that my finger was on the trigger for that at least once or twice. So it was very tempting. But yeah, it's been a great experience so far. I've been loving it. It's not perfect. Obviously, it's dated, right? 2009 is not like a spring chicken away. What the fuck does that mean, Dory? It wasn't a short time ago, is what I'm trying to say. So obviously the graphics look dated. Some of the gameplay choices look dated, but that's what mods are for. And the mods have helped a lot. There's a remaster mod. There's a mod for a couple of characters. It's improved my experience for sure. I'm not sure which mods have gone through and which ones haven't. I don't really worry about that. I just do my best to implement them. And if they take, great. And if they don't, whatever. I do think it's annoying that GamePass splits the launcher. This goes back to your thing about Steam, right? Why Steam is undefeated. Because to play this game, I have to go through EA Origin. And EA Origin...
You have to do that too on Steam.
Oh, you do? Okay, never mind.
This is an EA problem. Yeah.
Okay, so it's an EA problem. Fuck you, EA. Hashtag EA is always the problem. I remember when EA Sports was in the game, and nobody had issues with EA, including me. Anyway, this is a great game. I can't say that much about it because, like, I've only played a few hours. Like, I basically just about through the tutorial portion of the game. I'm on like the 3rd floor of the tower, and I just want to fight against some dark, whatever the fuck they are. I don't know. There's some fantasy bullshit. But it's fun. It's really good. It's really dark, obviously. It's very funny to have that perpetual gore box checked off, because I'll just be casually chatting with somebody and someone will be like, "Hey, how's your day going?" Camera pans over to me, drenched in the blood of my enemies. "Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing fine." And I'm like, but you can always turn it off. But I don't, because it's funny. It's funny that way. Honestly, if I could, I would add sitcom laughs. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it. Like I said, I've already said twice now, so I'll stop repeating myself. This is why I love Game Pass. I would never play Dragon. Well, not never, but I probably wouldn't have played Dragon Age for a while longer. I mean, I know it's on pretty good sales right elsewhere,
$3.
so maybe I would have. Yeah, like $1, right? So I probably would have gotten it on Steam or something. But yeah, Game Pass delivers again. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth for Game Pass just by playing this game alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you have any experience with Dragon Age, Seb.
Yes, I've played Origins. I never played 2. I've gotten far in the Inquisition. Inquisition won Game of the Year that year.
Right. Yes.
Although personally, I would have gave it to Shadow of Mordor. But that's a good series, and I'm excited for the new one for sure. I did buy them all on Steam, so I will go through the series at some point again. But I haven't planned on doing that soon, but it will be at some point.
They're long games. I mean, Dragon Age Origins is gonna probably take me about 50 hours. I'm really looking for like games that I can get like lost in and just really not bury myself in, but like really dig into in terms of like world building and dialogue and characters and stuff like that. So this is a game that I felt like would really do that, especially after playing Outer Worlds and playing Fallout New Vegas. I beat Outer Worlds, by the way. I was playing that over the week. I think I beat it pretty early on in the week, which is why I didn't mention it. But just quickly, yeah, really holds up better than I remember. I think I love it more now than I did back then. I appreciate it more now that I've played other games like it, especially New Vegas. But even before that, playing other RPGs like Disco Elysium and Baldur's Gate, and just like having a more like varied idea of what these kind of games can do. I really feel like Outer Worlds doesn't get enough love, a bit underappreciated, I would actually say. I remember at the time thinking it was just really great, but now I think it's actually like an excellent game. But it was also my second playthrough, right? And I knew what I was doing. I actually got to see the Parvati quest all the way through. I love Parvati so much. I love that side quest. It's so beautiful. And it's such a feel good. What I love so much about it, and this is a real quick tangent, it's easy to be edgy. It's easy to have like satirical, sensitive humor and like, haha, nothing serious. We're not taking anything serious. But that side story amidst all the other bullshit in Outer Worlds, with all of the other like lambasting corporations and making fun of political climate and everything else that does for social commentary, it's just a nice, sweet, simple love story. And that's what makes it stand out so much, is it's such stark contrast to everything else. And I don't think that's a problem for Outer Worlds. I think that's great. Yeah, just such a fun game. I was really bummed that I couldn't hack the final boss. I was really excited that hopefully I would be able to do that on my second go through. But I got like the best ending possible. Pretty much everybody got a happy ending, at least from my perspective. And I pretty much maximized every choice. So yeah, I mean, I really feel like that's Outer Worlds done and dusted in terms of like me. I loved it a lot. I would recommend anybody to go back to it because I think it really holds up. I think especially with better loading screens and loading times, it's a much better of a game because it doesn't feel like it drags forever if you die or if you're going into a new town. It's not perfect. There are definitely times where I felt like New Vegas did something a little better, or felt like something could have been improved a little bit, but that's what the sequel's for. And I am so thirsty for news about the sequel because at this point I'm living in a desert.
All right. Is there any other games you played, or that's the only one?
No, just those two. I've been so busy with my summer job, and too exhausted to do anything besides Dragon Age. So I'll probably have more to say about Dragon Age next week, and I'll also try to play one of the games that a couple of the games that we're gonna talk. I think Dungeons of Hinterberg just came out, but I haven't started playing it yet.
All right, so let's do our last topic of the night, which is our most anticipated games of the second half of 2024. So Summer Game Fest ended, so we got a lot of the release dates revealed, and so we know what's coming out more so now. There's always new games and new dates that will pop up later in the year. So this list is not definite, of course. There's always a showcase that's going to just shows up randomly at some point.
Yes, Dungeons of Hinterberg, by the way, does not come out till the 18th, so that's my bad.
Gotcha. All right, so let's start with July. So we're gonna go by month. So we're gonna start with July. Now just before we start, just to keep in mind, every game we talk about doesn't necessarily mean we're getting day one or at all.
Right.
Some of these are like I have interest in. I have a wish list. I'm gonna get them on sale, and then there's some games that I probably will get day one. So this list does not mean I'm buying every single game day one, spending $1,000. So just be mindful of that. All right, so my first game in July, which is July 18th, 5 days from now. So it's Friday, I believe. No, yeah, Friday. Is Flintlock. Not the Siege of Dawn, which is coming to Game Pass day one, I believe. And Dory, I think you've actually played this game. I've heard.
I haven't played it. I kept meaning to play the demo and I forgot to.
No worries.
I've
heard mixed things about this. I've heard the gameplay.
I have too. So that's what I've. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that's what I've noticed, or that's what I've been paying attention to is the previews and of impressions. It's definitely a little janky. There's a bit of some glitches and bugs. There's some issues with like movement and like expectations of that movement, but I am also hearing that once it does you start getting into a groove about it, the game really starts clicking and it's a good time, but it's not a great time necessarily. Sounds to me like it's going to be a lot of 7s and 8s, maybe 8s for the people this really clicks with, and 7s and maybe even 6s for people who doesn't.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so that's what I've understood from the current situation.
Yeah. Another game comes out the day after. So this is like, I think, let's see. So the 18th is a Thursday. So Flintlock comes on a Thursday. Friday, the day after, EA Sports College Football 25 comes out, which I am super excited about. It's been 12 years since we got a college football game. It's long story short, and the NCAA was having issues with players. The players were complaining that their likeness was being used, and obviously at the time college athletes were not getting paid, and so they were like they felt like they were getting exploited. So
reasonable.
So big long story short, they canceled the series. Nowadays, players get paid. So even college players are like make a lot of money. Time to even get to the pro league. So we're getting a new game in the series now, and it looks good. This series has a lot more features than Madden does. Like I love like just making a player in like high school and building them up all the way to college, and it was so fun. And the 13 was so amazing. I used to play that game a lot in college. Like this is 2013, so I was like a sophomore. I was a junior in college. Actually, yeah, that sounds right. Somewhere in college, and then I had a blast, and I'm so excited for this. The only thing is, it's not coming to PC. It's only on Xbox and PS5. So I'm gonna dust off the PS5 a little bit and play that. That's day one for me, guaranteed day one. All right, so the last game was Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, which comes out also on Friday on the same day as college football. So all the 3 games I want to get in July are the same 3 on the same 2 days. This is usually a game I'm not into, and this doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna get it day one. I'm probably not. I'll probably get it on sale, but it does interest me. Capcom's done a pretty good advertisement for it. It's been at showcases and things like that. So I like the visual style of it. The gameplay looks fun. So I'm into it, but not something I'll get day one. All right, so Dory, what games are you gonna get in July?
All right, so in July, the first game I wanted to note is Nobody Wants to Die. You remember that gimmick from the Arkham games where you were pretending to be a detective with high-tech gadgets and all that stuff? Well, this is kind of like that, but in a futuristic retro setting. It's got like the 1930s mixed in with like neo noir, mixed in with like cyberpunk. That's what I'm looking for. Basically, I'm hearing a lot of people say it's like Altered Carbon. I haven't seen that, but a lot of people are saying that it's like Altered Carbon. So if you like that, this might be the game for you. But yeah, it's a first-person kind of detective game set in the future. It's got really beautiful graphics, especially for such a small studio. And it's let's see, the Steam description says that you lose yourself in the dystopian world of New York 2329. Immortality comes at a price that someone has to pay. In this interactive noir story, lead the investigation using advanced technology. So it's it's pretty classic noir. I love the setting, love the trailers I've seen. This is again, like the kids say, this is very me coded. I'm very interested. It comes out July 17th. It's from Critical Hit Games. They're the devs behind it. And I don't know exactly how much it's going to be, but I'm very interested in it and hoping that it is well received by people because it looks really cool to me. I always loved that gimmick in the Arkham games where you were collecting evidence and stuff like that. I especially loved it in Origins. Where you would go around and try to figure out, what happened and how did somebody die and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really good looking game, and again, really impressive. It's on my wish list already from Steam. That's why I was a little distracted right there, making sure it was on my wish list. But yeah, I don't know how much it's going to be. I presume somewhere around $20-$30. It looks beautiful. Next game I want to talk about is a game I think I've already mentioned, Dungeons of Hinterberg. Like Seb said for the Capcom game that he mentioned earlier, I don't want to say its name because I'm going to get it wrong. But Dungeons of Hinterberg is a beautiful, cartoonish a puzzle platformer, obviously with some dungeon crawling. You are playing this character who's burnt out from their work on vacation and decides to become kind of a dungeon crawling hero. It's got some social elements, got a really cutesy kind of design to it. Gives me like comic booky vibes, actually. So yeah, it just looks really nice. I don't know if the gameplay is going to be for me. I've seen some of the previews and some of the there's a demo for it, so that's good. But it's a lot of puzzles, slaying monsters, so there's combat as well. So yeah, it's a pretty cool looking game. I don't know if I'll like it. It's an action adventure RPG, but it's also got fantasy and exploration, so we'll see. I'll definitely be paying attention to reviews for this. I believe it's coming to Game Pass, so that's where I'm going to be playing it if I do play it. But there is also a demo, so I will download that onto Steam and accept the EULA. All right. Last July game that I want to mention is Flintlock, which we've already talked about. I just downloaded the demo. Souls-like games aren't usually my thing, but I am going to give it a shot and see what happens. I'm not sure I'll like it, but unless reviews are like super crushing, like this game sucks, don't do it, not this game sucks. More realistically, this game has a lot going for it, but doesn't execute it very well. I'd probably say nah, I'll pass. I'll focus on Dungeons and Dragon Age. Nobody Wants to Die, of course. But yeah, those are my 3 July games I'm looking forward to the most.
Now August gets a lot busier, unfortunately, when I start work again. So I start teaching again. In this case, there's a lot of games. So first, Cat Quest 3. I'm a big fan of the first 2. I talked about the second one on the podcast. And these are really fun games. This one has like a pirate theme to it. It's not, like I said before, these games are not long, so it's a really fun short experience. It's a perfect game for the Steam Deck. I'm really looking forward to it. Comes out on August 8th. Another game is Sam and Max: The Devil's Playhouse Remastered, which I beat on the PS3 a long time ago. And they're remastering it. I'm a big fan of Sam and Max. I really love those point and click adventure games, old school Telltale games. I used to watch the Sam and Max cartoon. I think it was on Fox Kids. I really like Sam and Max, so I'm excited for that. Of course, Madden NFL 25. I get Madden every year. It's one of my guilty pleasures. That comes out on August 16th. The big one is Black Myth Wukong, which is probably gonna be could be my game of the year, possibly. This is my most hyped game for the rest of the year. We've talked about it extensively last week, and this game, the visuals look incredible. The gameplay looks really fun. I don't know how hard it's gonna be. I'm still hearing like these mixed things about it, but it seems like there's a boss. It feels like it's very boss focused. So there's a lot of bosses in this game. So I'm curious how they handle that because the Elden Ring was kind of like that too. So I'm excited for it. It's probably my game of the year, possibly. We'll see. The next game is that comes out August 20th. Another game is Concord, which the beta came out this weekend. People have been digging it. Sounds like I haven't played the beta personally, but from what I'm hearing, it's actually really fun. I do think that people really got to slow down on the hate. Like I understand people were disappointed in what they saw from the state of play, but people tend to really jump the gun because I feel like gameplay is more important than anything else, right? If the game is fun, like yeah, do we need another hero shooter? No, but like you should at least like give the game any game a chance, unless it's like really bad, like microtransaction, loot box kind of anti-consumer BS that they push on you. I can understand the hate for that. No defense there, but like gameplay wise, you just gotta let things play out sometimes. I feel like I'm not saying this game's gonna be a huge success or anything. It is on PC day one as well with PlayStation 5. So even though it's a Sony game basically, but yeah, it sounds like it's really fun. I don't know if I'm gonna get it day one. If it gets like great reviews, then I might be in the mood to play a first person multiplayer game. Cause I usually don't play multiplayer games as much anymore. I might get into it, so it might be like another Helldivers. Another one is World of Warcraft: The War Within, which is the new expansion. I pre-ordered it like a few months ago. I'm obviously I don't play MMOs as much anymore, but I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan, and I've played World of Warcraft since I was 11 years old in 2004. I still play World of Warcraft on and off, and so when the new expansion comes out, that's the main game I'll be playing. It's gonna be hard to balance different games with that, but I'll manage. Squirrel with a Gun. Very simple indie game.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's literally just a squirrel with a gun. That's all it needs to be said. But I love those kind of quirky indie games. I'm a sucker for that. So that's my game. Those are the game where like a lot of people are gonna be like, why? And me, it's like, yes, like this is a me game. I'm dying. Like I'm a huge fan of like Gold Simulator because like why not? They're goofy and they're fun. And isn't that the whole point of a video game? To have fun, you know.
That forgotten word.
Yeah. And then Visions of Mana. I'm excited for Visions of Mana. Everything from what I'm seeing looks great. The gameplay looks really fun. The visuals look good. I think Xbox keeps marketing it a lot. It keeps showing up at their showcase. But I don't think it's on Game Pass. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Mana series. The Mana games are very consistent. I love the art style. They have their own unique art style. Like you can, as soon as you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that's the Mana game, right? The Square Enix, like they have certain games have different art styles, like Kingdom Hearts. You got Final Fantasy. You have Dragon Quest. All of them, they all have like their own art style. So as soon as you see them, you're like, oh yeah, that's Mana. So I'm excited for that. And then finally, Star Wars Outlaws, which comes out August 30th. I'm not probably gonna play this day one. I am probably gonna get it when it comes to Steam, like in 5 or 6 months. I'm not a big Ubisoft fan. Like I like what I'm seeing is everything I want. Like a smuggler game, third person Uncharted like combat. Sounds like the planets are not too big. Like there's open world, but it's like open area. Sounds like I think they said recently on Ubisoft said like to go across the map was only like 10 minutes, which sounds like it's little, but it's really not. That's really not. Grand Theft Auto is like that too. So it doesn't take 20. It shouldn't take a half an hour to get across the map. I'm sorry.
Right.
So I have no issues with that, but I'm not an Ubisoft fan, and I'm not super optimistic this game is going to be like Jedi Survivor or something, but we'll see. I expect it to at least be a 7 out of 10, but I personally am going to get it on sale. It's an Ubisoft game. They drop in price in like a month, so I'm not getting it day one, but I'm definitely interested in it. I definitely will play it at some point, just to be clear. Like I definitely will, but not necessarily day one. All right, Dory, your game's in August.
Yeah, so August is a big month for me. I know this person who's turning 33 in August. Couldn't be me, but anyway. So first game I want to mention is Dustborn. That is a really cool, another comic
I forgot to put
style.
That's interesting too.
Yeah. I was surprised you never on your list. So this is you're kind of on a tour, a musical tour. You are doing a road trip across the divided states of America. So it gives me like big, like Road 96 vibes. Use the power of words to shape relationships with your crew, get out of trouble, and reach your final destination. There's a demo from Steam Next Fest, so I just downloaded it. This video has been, our podcast episode has been very good for me, remembering that a lot of these games on my wish list have demos. So now I've downloaded Dungeons of Hinterberg, Dustborn, and Flintlock. But yeah, it's got some action adventure aspects. There's some exploration and LGBTQ plus themes. So that's all awesome. The combat looks cool. I'm always up for kicking the ass of fascists in video games, to be clear, of course. Nowhere else, just in video games. Anyway, I'm going to sort of really try not to make another joke here. All right, woo! And yeah, Dustborn's looking real cool. Look back at the trailers that they've shown. It looks exactly like my kind of game. Made by Red Thread Games. Coming out just 4 days before somebody's birthday. Who could it be? Could be me. I don't know. Send it to me just to be safe. Yeah, so it looks really cool. And I'm excited for it.
Coming to Game Pass day one, isn't it?
I believe it's also coming to Game Pass too. But Game Pass, yes. I think I heard that when it was originally announced, but I don't remember because my memory is garbage. But yes, if it is, absolutely day one. If it's not, I will check the reviews and check the score, but am probably going to play that at some point because it looks too good to pass up. Mm-hmm. The other two have already been mentioned, so I'll just only briefly touch on them. But the other two are Black Myth Wukong. Look, again, Souls games are not my thing, but if I hear from a lot of Souls experts that like this is a relatively more accessible Souls-like, then, I'll another Crab's Treasure, although not on that level, I don't expect.
If you played Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, which are Souls-like, that you might be able to play this, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wasn't playing on like Grandmaster or anything, but even on normal, I mean, those games can be pretty tough at times.
Yeah.
And are very boss focused as well. But yeah, I mean, the game looks incredible. The action looks incredible. Just everything about it looks so good. So I'm very excited for it. If nothing else, I will watch the heck out of gameplay trailers. And when that game eventually goes on sale, maybe I'll even pick it up just to give it a shot. But I don't know about $60, $70. I don't know how much they're selling at 60, I imagine. But yeah. And the last one I want to mention, there's going to be an echo in here in a second. Is Star Wars Outlaws. I don't have the kind of interest in Star Wars that I used to have. And Seb and I have talked about that before, even recently. But I still have a great fondness for the series. I am showing off my Star Wars Special Edition Trilogy VCR gold case right now that I got from a local thrift store for like $1. What a steal! But now I have to buy a VCR. So more fool me, I guess. But anyway, I love Star Wars is the point. I grew up with Star Wars. I love it a lot. I thought Phantom Menace was great as a kid. So that just shows you how dumb I was. But in all seriousness, I mean, Andor is one of the best TV shows of all time. I love what they're doing with the Acolyte. I still have a lot of love, and Mandalorian, of course, is an all-time favorite, at least the first couple seasons. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of some of the stuff Star Wars is still doing. Like Seb says, this is extremely my stuff. You know, it's smugglers, it's not Jedi and the dark side or whatever. It's smugglers. It allows for a more complex morality tale than usual fare for Star Wars. I love Uncharted. That's a series near and dear to my heart. You know, the kind of open area that has a lot of density, but not a lot of length to it, I guess. Like, right, you can go across maps in 10 minutes. That sounds lovely to me. That sounds good. But the problem is the people who are, you know, publishing it, right? With Fallen Order, that's EA. I'm not a big EA fan either, but I can tolerate them more than I can tolerate Ubisoft. Ubisoft, I really don't have a lot of love for anymore. There's just been too much said about their corporate culture. The way that they do games in general is distasteful to me. The things that they've done to a lot of their most popular franchises, like Assassin's Creed, I'm not a fan of. So, similar to Seb, I'm almost certainly not getting this day one. I will likely get this on a sale, likely on a deep discount. So yeah, I hope it gets 7s and 8s. I think that's the best you can reasonably hope for from a Ubisoft game. But I don't know, Supermassive Games, I think, has a pedigree. So maybe they'll do something special with this and we'll get 8s and 9s, but I kind of doubt it.
All right. So September, it's a pretty busy month too for me. So big one, probably the biggest one in this month is Astrobot, which I'm a huge fan of, which comes out September 5th or 6th. Astrobot looks incredible. It could be a Game of the Year contender. All of them are that quality. I'm so excited. Astrobot's the mascot of Sony for me now, and I've been begging them to make a big Astrobots game that's not just like a tech demo. The other game was great, don't get me wrong, but it was very short. So I'm glad that this one's like a lot of stage. I heard it's like 100 stages or whatever, 80 stages. So I'm really excited for this. It looks colorful. The gameplay looks fun. There's a lot of PlayStation references. I'm a sucker for it. It looks great. I strongly lean on that. I could see it being a Game of the Year contender, or it's definitely gonna be might be the first non-Nintendo game to win Best Family Game. That'd be something. Next one is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, which is like that Gears game. It kind of looks like a Gears game. It looks really fun. I've seen a lot of it. And not a game I'll get day one, but definitely something to keep my interest in. I'll get it on sale. It looks really fun. I might scratch that Gears itch. The other one is Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which we talked about last week. I beat the first game recently, like the week before, and it still holds up pretty much. But this one has quality of life improvements, including better AI, better graphics, and you can shoot while you aim. You can move while you aim, which is godsend because that was so frustrating in the original game. And it looks really good. They're using the RE engine. It looks like a true remake. It's called a remaster, but it's really a remake because they're building it from the ground up. Then we got Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which is a remaster. I think, or maybe a remake. It's again another old game that they're bringing back. Really fun, great game. A lot of fun gameplay mechanics. I love the look of it. I played it way back in the day. I'm a big Disney fan, so this excites me. I like seeing classic Mickey. It's a good platformer. And then you got Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, which is also a very fun old remaster of a game. It's a remaster of an old game, and the gameplay is really fun. It's really quirky, over the top, goofy game. Like it's one of those games where it's just like you just turn your brain off and have fun with it. Don't expect The Last of Us like kind of storytelling in it. It's literally like a teenage girl who has her boyfriend's head, and she kills zombies. Like what more is there really to it? It's super fun. And then finally, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which we finally get to play as Zelda. I like the chibi like art style to it. I'm a little mixed on the gameplay mechanics of like summoning things to fight and all that. I would have preferred maybe a little more physical combat, but for the most part, it looks really good. And I'm not sure if I'll get that day one. I'm kind of on the fence. We'll see, but it definitely interests me. I can't say I'll wait for a sale because it's Switch, but I'll definitely keep an eye out. I'll get it whenever I'm in the mood to play it. And yeah, that's my September game. So Astrobot's the big thing. A lot of remasters in September. All right, Dory.
Yes, September for me, very short. Only going to mention 2 games, and they've already been mentioned by Seb. Dead Rising Remastered. Now that is probably a day one for me, unless the price is ridiculous. But we talked about that last episode. Like Seb said, fond memories, great premise. As long as it's not an outrageous price, and as long as the remaster doesn't suck, I am day one on that. Astrobot, similar, probably day one on that. Not a big platform person, but I'm so charmed by Astrobot, and I've always had such fun with those games that I don't actually mind paying. What is it? $40? 60? 60? Ooh. All right. Maybe I mind paying 60. I thought it was a little less than that. But still, I will be picking that up at some point, probably when it goes on sale.
Yeah.
60 is a lot for me, especially as someone who's not super into platformers.
Typically, how Sony prices their games is the biggest games, like the God of Wars, are going to be 70. The semi-big ones, or like the next stage, the next level is 60, and then all their multiplayer games tend to be $40. Like Concord's going to be $40. That's typically how they price out their games.
Yeah. For sure, but it's cool that Astrobot's coming back. I hope it sells really well. Unfortunately, I will be one of those.
I'm pretty certain it will. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I'm going to be one of those awful fans who's like, "Yay, I'm rooting for you. Why didn't you give me any money while you were rooting for you? I'm sorry, I'm poor. Like 60 is a lot for a platformer. I'm sorry." But like I said, I will purchase it most likely when it goes on sale. I had fun with the first 2 Astrobot games.
Right. Then you said that's it.
That's it. That's it for September for me.
Okay, that's good to have a quieter month for sure. And then October is usually the month where I spend the most money in games. This October doesn't look as crowded as last year was, or the year before. Like last year, obviously, like Spider-Man and Alan Wake and Assassin's Creed and so on and so forth. This October, Silent Hill 2, October 8th. The State of Play trailer was awful. The gameplay, the Konami showcase they had for Silent Hill 2 actually looked like good gameplay. It looked pretty good. It doesn't look amazing. It's not going to be like a 9 out of 10. It looks strong, like a 7 out of 10 to me. And but like it looks like something I've really enjoyed, just because I'm a giant Silent Hill 2 fan. I really like what I'm seeing in terms of the gameplay. Like the look of it looks good. Like I said, a lot of quirks, a lot of there's problems for sure. Like you see it. It could have been higher quality than it is, but it looks like a good game. I would say I feel like it's gonna be a good game. I don't think it's gonna be a great game, but I don't think it's gonna be a bad game. I think it's gonna be a good, solid game. So I'm excited I'm gonna buy it day one. I'm a Silent Hill fan. We need more Silent Hill games, so I'm gonna buy that day one for sure on PC. Big one for me this month is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I'm gonna put the most hours into it in October. That game looks incredible. The visuals look incredible. The gameplay looks like Tenkaichi. This is being the Tenkaichi game basically, and it looks like everything I want from a Dragon Ball Z game. Dragon Ball game. I'm super excited for it. It has endless possibilities. Because like, even though they can always add more characters in the future too. So it's like we're in a different era where like Tenkaichi had a huge cast, but like nowadays they can add even more. Everything about it looks incredible. Like I love the visual art style of it. It's gonna be a high quality fighting game. It's gonna be huge in the fighting game community. It could be the best Dragon Ball game ever. Fighters is the best one ever, I think, and this might live up to that. I'm super excited. I grew up with Tenkaichi games and the Budokai games, and their Dragon Ball Z games are nostalgic as hell for me. It might be it's like one of the first games I think of when I think of PS2, besides like Kingdom Hearts. Sonic and Shadow Generations. It basically remaster of, I think it's a remaster of Sonic Generations, which is actually one of the best Sonic games. If you like the 2D, it has 2D and 3D mix. It did a great job mixing the old Sonic and the new Sonic together. And but this one has Shadow in it, and it looks really fun. Not gonna get this day one, but I will get this on a sale at some point for sure. And then finally, Life is Strange Double Exposure. Huge shock when they revealed this at the Xbox show. Not only that, because Max is back, and I didn't think we'd ever see Max again. Because this is technically, I guess this is the fourth game. Oh, this is the fifth game technically if you include Before the Storm. And we haven't seen Max in a long time. And Max is an adult, and she has her powers again. I think she lost it at the end of the first game. Now she has them back, or different ones. But it's still like time traveling kind of thing, like something to it. Anyway, I love Life is Strange. It's one of my favorite series. I've beaten all of them. I'm gonna go through the series again. I had them all on Steam.
I still have to beat 2.
Yeah, 2 is a good game. It's not as good as the other.
2's the only one.
But
2 is the only one I haven't played. I've even played the DLC or the prequel Before the Storm. I never finished 2. I think I got through episode 1 and 2 or something.
Yeah.
I think I got past the gas station and yeah. But so I got to the motel. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
So day one is going to be Silent Hill 2, Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, and Life is Strange for me. So other than that, those 3 games, that month's main thing to be horror games because it's October, so I always play horror games.
Right.
Mainly. All right, Dory, what about you for October?
Right. Mine is mostly the same. Let me get the different one out of the way first. Metaphor Refantasio also is coming out in October.
I forgot the. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah. We'll talk about.
You
go ahead.
I'll talk about it now, and Seb's basically going to more or less second me on this, but this looks incredible. I haven't really played the Persona game. This is a chance for me to get into that kind of game. It's a Persona-like, I guess you could say, and this is a chance for me to really dive into that. Probably the best version of it, or at least the most updated version, right? Not necessarily the same thing, but often the same thing, especially in video games.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's not an old series. I mean, it's an old series, but it's like the games feel new. I think like Persona 5 is not that old.
I mean, 4 and 5 are still games that I'm considering. Anything before that, I don't know. But definitely 5.
You should play Persona. The Persona 3 Reload too, the remake of.
Oh, that's right. 3 Reload did just come out, so that's another one I could consider.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my list is very much the same as Seb's. Originally, when I thought we could only do one title, I had Sparking Zero / Life is Strange Double Exposure. But now that I know we can just say whatever games we're excited for, both these games, as they say in wrestling, except both these guys. I love Budokai Tenkaichi. I played Budokai 1, 2, and 3. I played Tenkaichi 1 and 2, and I think maybe 3, but mostly 1 and 2. I was one of the weird ones who never played 3.
I thought Tenkaichi 3 was the best one.
I know. I never played it. I was so obsessed with 2 that I never played 3. Because I remember watching the reviews, and I was like, this just seems like the game I just played. I'll just go back and play more of that. So that's what I did. I never played 3. I am excited for Silent Hill 2. I want it to be good. I'm not optimistic. Like Seb said, that trailer at the showcase, the State of Play, did not do it any favors for me, and I didn't really go out of my way to watch the stuff that Seb did.
It was a bad trailer, I thought.
Yeah,
but the gameplay
looks to me, gameplay looks really janky, and I don't know. But to be fair, Silent Hill is always very janky in the gameplay. That's not really while you're playing it, but I would like them to update it. Sure. You can do a survival horror game that has excellent gameplay. We know that. Not just with Resident Evil, of course. I'm sure there are other games too. But Silent Hill 2 I'm also looking forward to. Life is Strange. I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. Like I said, I played every single game. The only one I haven't beaten is Life is Strange 2. And I plan on rectifying that at some point this year because it was all free for Pride Month. So I just or actually that was a different game. I will. Yeah, tell me why. But I'll probably buy it at some point and just play the rest of it. Because I think I started on Steam and I got through episode 1 and 2. And then I just didn't do the rest for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that's my October. It's absolutely loaded.
Yeah. So for me, I forgot to include Metaphor. Metaphor, it looks. I'm a huge Persona fan. Definitely day one. I'm definitely getting that day one. Uh, it's gonna be challenged to play that game in the middle of October when I'm busy with work, but I'll figure it out. It's gonna be a long game. Every Persona game is long. It's not a Persona game, but it's the same developers, studio. No, it's Atlas, I think, right? Um,
Yes, I believe it's Atlas.
all right, so November. November is none of these games I'm getting day one, but I have interest in them. Mario and Luigi Brothership, horrible name, but the art style I'm not crazy about the art style. Some of it look a little weird, like they look stretched out a little bit. But uh, Mario and Luigi games are good. They're fun, turn-based RPGs. Mario RPG comeback is here. There's so many Mario RPGs now. And it looks good. We haven't had a Mario and Luigi game in a long time, so I'm looking forward to that, but not day one. Slitterhead, I like the concept. I was not happy what I saw at Summer Game Fest. Gameplay looked janky as hell, but I will keep my eye on it. Maybe maybe it'll be fun. Maybe the storyline would be fun or interesting. And it'll maybe make me interested in buying it. But as of now, I am either not going to get this game at all if it sucks, or I will get it when it's on sale. I was optimistic about it when I heard about it, but now after seeing it, I'm like, eh. And then finally, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Not day one for me, as I talked about. I'm not a huge Ubisoft fan. I'm not a giant Assassin's Creed fan, but I will play this at some point. It may not be day one, but it will be on when it's on sale. I'll definitely pick it up. I do like the idea of in Japan, like samurai. I'm a huge fan of samurai games. Ghost of Tsushima, but I feel like Ghost of Tsushima beat Assassin's Creed to the punch in a Japanese open world game like that. But I don't think I'm gonna play as Yasuke. I think I'm gonna play as the female, just ninja. Forget her name, but you can. I don't know if you can play as both characters. I think you have to choose, but we'll see. But I just prefer like Assassin's Creed kind of gameplay over like a big samurai tanky person. I don't like. That's just me though. All right, Dory. What about November for you?
November is not. It's the opposite of October, which is nice because that's
Usually the case, I think.
well, it's usually the case, but it's also that's 3 games I'm probably going to get day one. Life is Strange, which I think is coming to Game Pass. Sparking Zero, which I'm buying almost no matter what, even if IGN's like, oh, it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And Metaphor Refantasio, unless again like gets sixes or something.
Which is on Game Pass as well.
Oh, it's on Game Pass as well. So fuck. The only one there that I might not get day one is Silent Hill. We've already talked about why. November. I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit of a dry month for me. If I was to scrape at what I see, Brothership. Oh, again, awful title. Looks good. It's the kind of game that I like. I loved Mario Party RPG or Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG, whatever.
Yeah.
I said the wrong thing. I know. Super Mario RPG, the remaster, was fun, and I liked it, and so therefore I might like Brothership, and that's about all the excitement I have for that. And that's it for November. And there's nothing in December. Spoilers. We don't know anything for December. So
yeah, there's nothing for December. Yeah. Even then, I usually there isn't anything in December. I think Cyberpunk came out in December one year. I think Smash Brothers maybe came out in December one year. I think last year was Avatar, but I still haven't played that yet. So December is usually because by then everybody's kind of Christmas shopped out. Like people usually buy their Christmas shopping after Thanksgiving in November, and I think companies know that. Like Call of Duty usually comes out in November. Things like that. So, nothing in December for me. I'm not complaining because December is a good month for where I catch up on like any other game I didn't play for the year, and then because Dory and I always do like a top 10 game list at the end of the year, so December is usually when I catch up on the rest of the games I want to include my top 10 or whatever. So I'm not complaining too much. October is is usually where I spend the most money. But from what I'm looking at, August looks like the most loaded month for me. Because there's so many games I listed, and so we'll see. But yeah, but August looks crowded. Of course, when I'm go back to work, because if I'm a
Right.
teacher, I'm off right now.
Yeah.
I go back to school. First day of school is August 12th, so we'll see. I'll figure. I always balance it out pretty well. Anyway, that's it for me. Dory, is there anything else? You see anything else that you forgot to include, or?
No, there's definitely some games that are to be announced that looked exciting,
Yeah.
like 33 Immortals, but we've already discussed some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some to be announced games. There could be changes. Some games might get delayed. Some games might get moved up. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And some games could get announced for end of the year. And then maybe I'll be really excited about November for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely games that are coming out this year that we don't have release dates yet, so we only pick games that have definitive release dates.
For sure.
Yeah, because it might be these months will probably get even more loaded because there's a rumor that there's a PlayStation showcase coming in like September or something. So you never know what else is coming out. So
right.
All right. Thanks for joining me, Dory. That is our show.
Yeah.
Hopefully our audio is good this time. I think it will be.
Yes.
It was a good episode. We had a lot of good discussions today, and
that Game Pass one was a lot longer than I think either Seven or I thought it would be.
I don't know. I feel like I had a lot of. I feel like I knew I had a lot to say because I was kind of holding it in all.
Yeah. You were like going Super Saiyan there.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, I can go. This is to go one step beyond.
I was tired of reading about it a lot on Twitter. Like that's all people were talking about for like 2 days. All right.
Yeah.
You have a good night, Dory. Take care and peace.
Bye, everybody. Happy historically insignificant day. Yay.